If everyone could be seated, we'd like to get started. Everyone hear me? Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to I'm Susan O'Lasik, Chair of the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. We are here this afternoon for the memorial of Emeritus Professor Sheldon Shore, who passed away April 4th. He was a highly respected and beloved member of this department. I would like to say that the people who are sitting here in this audience, based on the last 3 weeks, members of our department, the OSU community, and its alumni, all should and do consider themselves members of his extended family. And we are here this afternoon to celebrate Dr. Shore's substantial accomplishments and also his contributions to this community. Extended family is here to contribute to each other. The information that they've collected across the years on Dr. Shore, one of Dr. Shore's most significant concerns across this last 2 years of time was that we perhaps might forget about his contributions to this university and to this department. And so this is our first attempt of many that will come in the years to make sure that we commemorate his substantial contributions to OSU and also to this department and to this alumni. So welcome everyone. I will try to keep track of the progress of this memorial. I'd like to say that I'd like to keep the tone of this in the way that I think Sheldon would like it most, and that everyone in this room knows that Sheldon was quite the cut. And so we want to remember him the way he interacted with us in a very, very positive way, and try to keep our sadness in check as much as we can. But Sheldon would like us to remember his most significant scientific and personal contributions. So we are recording this event for the alumni across the world to participate and to also be able to listen, and for us to have this for posterity's sake as well. I have asked Pam Porter to first read for us her own article that she wrote for the web of the College of Arts and Sciences. She is the Assistant Director for Research and Innovation of OSU Communication. And the flavor and the many comments that she made in her article, to me, sets exactly the tone that I'd like all of us to think about this afternoon in terms of the very positive way that Sheldon impacted our lives. Yeah.
Thank you, Susan. As Susan mentioned, I'm a science writer here at the university, so that means I write news releases and other stories about research. And I'm pretty sure I wrote about several people in this room. And I had the opportunity to write about Sheldon several times. And I accumulated quite a few anecdotes over those times, and I didn't use them in any actual news stories, so I compiled them here. And I should preface this by saying, you know, I write news releases about science, but I don't write obituaries, so this is not an obituary. It's not an obituary. Given the thousands of researchers who spend long and distinguished careers at Ohio State, and given that I've written about research for nearly 20 years, it stands to reason that occasionally a researcher whom I've written about will pass away. It's not my job to write obituaries, but I do need to know the people I write about, especially if they have a unique personality, like the chemist Sheldon did. He died on April 4th, at age 84. This isn't an obituary, so I won't tell you that Sheldon's 57-year career here was unusual, sometimes comically so. I only wrote about him when he received various honors, like when he was one of only 3 Americans named to a prestigious Academy of Sciences, or when he set a record for receiving National Science Foundation funding for 44 years straight. In that context, there was no reason to mention that his first office at the university in 1957 was really just a chemistry bench on a West Campus Quonset hut, which burned down under mysterious circumstances. Said best not to ask, so I said nothing to ask. This isn't an obituary, so I will mention that Sheldon only wanted to do basic research, particularly regarding the element boron and its associated molecules. Or how, when his NSF program manager told him that his funding would run out if he didn't start working on viable commercial applications for boron, he devised a plan to choose collaborators who would worry about the applications and leave him to think deeply about the basic issues in chemistry. And the plan worked for decades. Neither will I mention that he was a man whose quick humor belied the dour expression he often held in photographs. He hated having to or how he was fond of drawing chemistry-themed Snoopy cartoons, such as one about streaking naked through the chemistry lab, which he asked me never to share with anyone, so I have it here. Pass that around later. There's also no reason to mention that his colleagues nicknamed him the Red Boron during his years as an amateur pilot. And I won't describe the handmade red boron pennants that hung on his wall above the piano that he smuggled into his office annex, which was actually a utility closet next to his office, which he annexed. Exercising his carpentry skills on evenings and weekends, he actually burrowed through the wall into the utility. How do you do that? And without anyone knowing, and then how do you get a piano in there? I have no idea. So he burrowed a hole through the wall and stealthed the door, and he would retreat behind that when he wanted peace and quiet or just music. So he made me promise never to write about that last part. Now I don't suppose he'd mind, especially since he isn't gonna be.
Sheldon didn't travel far from his native Chicago to attend the University of Illinois as an undergrad, but hired in 1957 by OSU probably challenged that can anything good come from Ann Arbor? So the answer was his first JAX paper, 1955, the crystalline compound of ammonium borane, and he figured that probably at least give it a try. But you could really see his future because what he did, and I do use models, I understand, but they're really small. You take your simple ethane and you turn it into an aminoborane compound, and obviously the polarity and uniqueness of this compound and the reactivity is what Jimmy referred to when he was talking about hydrogen storage. He had his earliest paper was about the mean of Bahrain, but his another early paper, you can see a short feature. His eighth paper, this one was in J-Chem Ed. It was called A Simple, Inexpensive Glove Box, because it used a polyethylene bag. So what you could see right away was Big Bang and little bucks. After about 2 decades of simple boron chemistry, and simple would be like B2H6 and decoborane, which is so fond of, and he actually decided that after some improved synthesis and some patents, that he would move out a little bit and try phosphorus instead of nitrogen. So there was mixed gauges of boron hydrides with the iron ruthenium carbonyls came later, not too far later. And around 78, Jeff Fricker, who's going to be speaking later, would be familiar with his work on then. Thymine and osmium carbonyl clusters which were devoid of boron. Now he received patents again for these syntheses and also started into new chemistry. And in particular, in 1983, when I came, Sheldon actually survived my study of some of the clusters, the iron ruthenium clusters, with an innovative IR circle cell. Well, when I say survived, it's because they tended to leave carbon monoxide. So innovative sometimes means another word for does not work. Boron was really still essential, and a new patent. You had to get the money in, right, for a better diborane synthesis. I don't ever think it got 98% of those times. So, but he did get a patent on that, and a paper in 1988. He actually discovered a new boron cage. In 1996, that's about the beginning of the papers being published on lanthanide chemistry. And I really see the following years, the most recent years, saw a variety of new papers, compounds with only boron mixed with the transition metal lanthanide, and a lot of new metal carbonyl clusters. He even had some compounds that were potentially used to fight cancer. And you can see this work has followed all the way up into 2004. He was planning boron conferences, and he was actually working on a new project with Los Alamos. He kept telling me when I saw him, I got to bring back Fischer-Tropsch chemistry. So, at the hospital, Dr. Lee actually came to tell him of the work they were working on a crystal structure for a sodium ammonia borate compound. So his chemistry really, as someone said, he really died with the boots on. Continuing to even have people come visit in the hospital. Dr. Lee was not very successful in getting him to help with the crystal structure, but he knew what was going on. Through all the years that I've known him, Dr. Shore's attention to detail was very, very obvious. But if you made something in his group, you better characterize it, and the best thing of all is to have a crystal structure. His attention to students is also very obvious. They're well aware of those late night pizza runs and all the food that's available at their group meetings. Jimmy Cowan was saying how much he misses him because there's no pizza smell down the hallway. His funny group T-shirts identified his sons and daughters of boron. Well, I suppose mostly as sons of, well, whatever sons. And he was often called Doc or Papa Shore. Everybody has very fond memories in his group. He was loyal to his students, his postdocs, physics scientists to the very end. And right now, you see this reflection of that loyalty of people who come to speak with him, these people that are listening on the web. What he did worked because everyone's hard work. All the papers, all the patents, the grants, all of those awards that he well deserved, obviously the reflection of the time that he put in late night with Sheldon, with his group, and how well we see him wandering, visiting us in our offices. After my postdoc with Sheldon, I left him and took on the job I have now as in charge of the General Chem labs. So when Sheldon would actually teach Gen Chem, I would work with him periodically over the years. My main contact, though, was probably a result of the IR we used. We had a Maxim IR. We actually had 8-inch floppy disks and Unix operating system. So he thought I knew what I was doing with computers, I suppose. Even though someone eventually blew that IR up with hydrogen instead of nitro. But I continue to be Doc's tech support in the years following my postdoc. This meant making things continue to work really well past their expiration date. And I think that's probably the most distinct shorter we all know. But in working with him and working with his technology, the computers, what they had at home, I actually discovered something that most people don't know about his love of art and photography. He had an expensive slide scanner, the whole library of slides he was converting, and he needed to hook that up to a new computer. He also played classical music beautifully on the grand piano. Couldn't quite fit that into the closet here. He had a smaller piano. And it was actually quite difficult in last year when he had some surgery on his wrist. But he just loved to play that piano. And he actually often asked his cats what they thought of it. They seemed pleased. I wondered at times really this research was it like a Mozart piece that showed this great variation and yet still kept coming back to Boron as the basic theme of his science. Some colleagues knew his kindness in the early 70s. Being tranquilized when he was at the hospital was telling me how he helped find logic when he first got here. And how he went out to dinners there were actually mom and pop restaurants on High Street. Yeah, all right, Derek Portland. Yeah, right. And at the hospital, I also suggested we could file Sheldon's big book of little witticisms. And Dr. Frank will probably write a lengthy foreword. The chemistry staff has always appreciated his yearly lunches and will certainly appreciate his staff bonuses, the gifts that he's given us that will continue after his passing. His dad, Louis, was a machinist, and Sheldon was a regular down in the machine shop, as he carried back there. He always came to their offices in his suit and his tie. He always had a smile on his face. He was always kind, funny. He was a true gentleman in every sense of the word. Some of us were very lucky to go to Chicago for his burial, and his family had the same sense of humor. A number of them wanted to come today. They really talked about it. They were eager to come, and just the timing was more difficult. There are not a whole lot of youngsters in his immediate family for some reason. But a number of them were going to be watching it live, and also those who can't are going to be seeing the recording. So that means an awful lot to them. It really means a lot to them. They really sense the affection that we have for Sheldon. We really know that by those that came and by this whole memorial service for him now. So if you haven't had a chance to do so, there's a remembrance book where you can write down some comments about short stories about Sheldon. We'll be giving that to the family. We'll be keeping a copy for ourselves, right, Trees? Okay. So, closing, I, like all of you, really miss Sheldon a lot. He's a great man, he's a great friend, and thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Sheldon. Sheldon is an associate professor in the department of Lyman campus.
Good afternoon. As usual, I draw the short straw here, and I get to speak after Bob Tax. I feel like a mindful of the surprise. In any case, here's my speech. I don't usually write things down. This is my official speech. So I'll try to stick to these notes. Paul and Susan's introduction. I was going to ask whether you wanted the irreverent version of this or the irreverent. And I can let you pretend to choose if you like. But we get the same thing anyway. We'll start off, I guess, with a little philosophical part, and we will revisit that again. Those of you in the local area here have probably seen the local TV broadcast here. And there's a bunch of these minute-long, 30-second-long spots for university hospitals. And the tagline on all of those things is, "But for Ohio State, blah, 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 you know, still here or whatever it is." So, all of these things are about these great, transformations that have been made in people's lives because they came to Ohio State. So as I was beginning to think about some of the things we might want to say here, I said, well, maybe we could put together and make our own TV spot and try and get that in. And we could have a "But for Sheldon" spot. And that's kind of funny, but in a lot of ways, I think every single one of us in here, our lives would be a whole lot different "But for Sheldon." I certainly wouldn't be here. I certainly wouldn't have met one of you good people. Maybe by some on a train or on a bus or somewhere, but chances are I've never met one of you fine people. I've never met my wife. So yeah, so chemistry aside, "But for Sheldon," I don't know what, I don't exactly know what my life would be like or what I would be doing. Again, here in the world. As it is, I'm here in Columbus, Ohio, where you would be. So that's fine. So that's the "But for Sheldon" part, and I think every one of us can kind of dwell on that for a minute. Now I joined Sheldon's group as a postdoc after I did my graduate work in Scotland, in Edinburgh. And like I say to my students, you probably recognise by my accent that I'm not from any particular part of Ohio. Although somebody did ask me, and I was actually asked once if I was originally from Ohio. And I shook my head, and I don't know what I did. I think I walked away, but anyway. So I came here to do some postdoc work. And the circumstances were a little bit strange in a sense that I may or may not be the only person who ever worked for Sheldon and alongside Sheldon over the years that didn't actually ask to. It was a little bit strange because I was a poor graduate student in Scotland, and Scottish graduate students are extraordinarily poor, don't get me wrong. And I probably had half a dozen stamps to afford. And I decided I was going to send some letters out to some eminent chemists of their time, see if they fancied taking me on. Sheldon wasn't one of them. Nothing against it. I worked on boron chemistry as a graduate student. I was at Calgary. And I worked on boron chemistry. And we knew and we loved the work that was coming out of this department at that time. But here was I, a young numbskull from Scotland. I didn't know what I was doing. But when I looked at a map of the United States, CR, Chicago, all this, sadly Columbus, Ohio didn't jump to the top of the top. I'm going to love that place, don't get me wrong, but if it could be LA, Chicago, who would I know? So anyway, I wrote off to some of these people, and not one of them had any funding, or at least no funding they were willing to send in my direction. However, shortly afterwards, I was in my lonely one-bedroom hole in the wall with a piano in the side room. My lonely one-bedroom apartment, the phone rang. And this is what it said. Is this Dr. Hamilton? Yes. This is Professor Shore from Ohio State. I have got some of your work, and I wonder if you would like to come and do some postdoc work in my group. So I'm saying, is this one of my friends? As it turned out, one of the people who didn't want to send more of my money somehow I assume, gotten these papers to Sheldon, I don't know what, and lo and behold, this happened. And he sent me a telegram to officially offer me that position. I've never seen a telegram before. It's like, he wants like a film from World War I or something. I got a telegram. And I honestly, in the last 2 weeks, I've searched high and low trying to find that thing. Because I promise you I would never have thrown something like that away. But I couldn't find it, but I'm going to keep Anyway, so that's what it was. So despite not deliberately coming here and being brought here, we had a great association for years. And I used that as ammunition for years. If you ever complained about me, I'd say, well, it was your bright idea. So but back again, I should just touch on another point. The impression I just did of Sheldon, which wasn't, I think, too bad for a fully paid up Scotsman, it wasn't actually an impression of Sheldon. It was an impression of Debbie McCarthy doing an impression of Sheldon. That's where I learned it. And the trick to it, if you want to learn this, the trick to it is you have to start every sentence. Say! And then you would go into it. And the less detail you can put in is going, say, why don't you talk to what's his name about the what's it called? If you're paying attention for weeks, you probably knew who what's his name was, what it was, and you get the job. But anyway, no, we'll go back to talking about science a little bit, just for a second. This is the more reverent part again. Many people have been they said to me, oh, when I joined the group, Sheldon made me redo this person's work, and see, this work was nailed to the floor. There was actually nothing wrong with it, and Sheldon made me do it again. And it was totally, yes, Dwayne, like, whose work did you redo, Dwayne? A lot of people. And so that was the kind of MO. And for a lot of years I couldn't quite understand it. But I think it finally made sense of it. Sheldon, for whatever reason, for all the accolades, all these papers that people would reference hundreds of times and everything else, till the last day, I think he himself felt like a fraud somehow. And I don't think he could quite understand that people appreciated the work he did. And he said, no, if I send in a paper that's got something wrong with it, the whole ruse is going to be up and I'm going to be rumbled. And I honestly think he believed that. It's a very, very strange thing from the outside. But it was a definite kind of character trait. On a state one of his papers, unintended, it would have killed him. So it was perfectionism, and that's why you were doing that to him. So I don't know how many times you had to do it. I don't know how many times, but yeah, that's every time it was done, and those papers ended up great for him. Like I said, we were well aware of Sheldon's work. We were working in Scotland. We were interested in some of the terrain things. And what we always saw was this. Each paper was a standalone document. There wasn't this salami slicing, sort of thing you could see through it. The whole system was nailed down. It worked. What you didn't understand, I guess you got Dwayne to come and fix it or do something. But that was the MO. So these papers were standalone things. They weren't, see you next week for the next film installment kind of style. That's what we were seeing. And it was a tough road sometimes when you were trying to do that stuff. But that's where it ended up. Okay, so let's get less serious again for a second. Also, this is the thing I avoided. I write a passage in the group back before I ever got there, where Fly and Sheldon's playing with it. Honestly, I would run a car with him. Well, that's how you describe it. But anyway, Fly is, I guess there's less to hit up there. That isn't one thing. But in any event, I've told this story 100 times before, but never ceases to shock and awe me. Sheldon had taken a friend of ours, Champagne Blue, up in his plane one day. And this was in the days when he no longer owned his own plane, so you had to take like an instructor up to have this dummy set of control. Be a Leo kind of thing. So Sheldon and Champagne, I think his wife, and the instructor took off. And they're flying around town a little bit, having a great time. And not for nothing, but the instructor fell asleep. Which was just fine, except the classic utterance from Sheldon was, say, Champagne, do you know where the airport is? I don't know what you say about that. Fortunately, it was just a cat nap for the instructor. And all was well, and then yeah, I don't know if you stuff. But anyway, I shouldn't go on too long. In the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of a funnel for a lot of messages and thoughts, if you will, from basically all over the world. Where are they coming from? You know, the UK, Japan, India, Spain, Poland, you know, all over this country, you name it. My email box is full, my phone's ringing off the hook. People all over who have been, you know, touched by what we've done with Sheldon, I guess, you know, some advice they had, or one of his corny jokes, or you name it. Yeah, that was enough for them to remember what they were, you know, what they'd experienced, and they certainly wanted to give some information to us about. So, in fact, as you probably see, Sheldon's here for 57 years. I suspect every single day of that 57 years, he absolutely loved what he did. I don't know how many people have 57-year careers doing exactly what they would essentially do for nothing. He absolutely loved it. It's hard to imagine how he would have stopped doing it. And he didn't. And he was in the lab until, you know, the day before he went to hospital, and until the end. So, yeah, all of us should be so lucky in a sense. So, yeah, that's all. So, thanks very much. As I say, it's quite small writing on this basic paper. It's okay, it's my handwriting, I can't read it either. So, thanks very much for listening. As I say, like I say, I think we can all have our own great thoughts about how we interacted with Sheldon over the years, and as we say, work for Sheldon.
Our next speaker is Megan Moses, a close friend of Sheldon's and also a former member of this department as well. Megan.
Hi, my name is Megan Moses. I officially met Dr. Shore in 2002 when I was in the chemistry department as director of environmental and molecular science institute. I had the honor to assist Dr. Shore professionally and personally. He always told me that when he died, I would write his biography and share all the secrets. I'm not much of a writer, so I wanted to be here today to talk to you about what I know about Dr. Shore personally. Dr. Shore had a beautiful grand piano in his dining room, and he played this for me. He always had the best smile on his face when playing the piano. His cat Cozy would sit next to him, and this would make him very happy. He would lay his robes into a ball for Cozy to lay in and relax all day. He would do anything for his cat. He would get up in the middle of the night or during a nap to put his cat in a tree. When I first met Dr. Shore, he had a cat Mildred, and he loved her so. He kept her remains on his dresser with a picture of her on the top, and he would talk to me about her frequently. That's Mildred. Dr. Shore loved sugar-free popsicles, corn on the cob, watermelon, pistachios, and peanuts. I would find popsicle sticks and pistachio and peanut shells all over his house. And occasionally, I would find a corn on the cob husk. Dr. Shore was obsessed the last couple years with flossing his teeth. About every third time I went to the grocery store for him, he'd call me like it was an emergency while I was at the store, and he would ask me to pick up a pack of dental floss. Just like the popsicle sticks and the peanut shells, I found the floss all over his house. Sometimes I would find the floss in my house because it would attach to my shoe or my clothes, and it would end up on my sofa. Yeah. Dr. Shore called me in all his emergencies. He once called me from the floor of the Toronto airport, and he fell, and he asked me what he should do. He ended up fracturing his hip, and then I ended up having to get him transported country to country on a medical transport flight. And boy, was that challenging. One Sunday morning, he called me and asked me to help him because he had flooded his house. And he left the bathroom faucet on all night. So he asked me to come over and fix his house really quick, and then, by the way, could I go to the engagement that he had right now, which was to accompany the keynote speaker to the graduation board meeting. Dr. Shore overcame many difficult hospital stays. I saw utter courage and persistence, a physically fragile individual with a sense of humor. When I visited him in the hospital, he would say, "I've taken a turn from the nurse." They always asked him when he was there, and I talked to one of his friends. He said he was going to die for the last 14 years. They always had a chaplain come in and visit him, and he would say, "I prefer a priest, but I settle for a nun." The last few weeks, I've been in contact with a lot of his doctors. They were all very heartbroken for his passing, and they said that he ranked as one of their most favorite people in their lives, let alone their favorite patient. Dr. Shore spent a lot of time at Dodd Hall, which is a rehab center on the OSU Medical Center campus. He needed some workout and rehab clothes, so I bought him a workout suit, resembled a soccer warm-up outfit for his rehab exercises. I went all over the place, and Dr. Shore is a very small man, so it was really hard for me to find something that really fit him. And when I would go visit him at the rehab, and he would be wearing this outfit, he'd say, "Do I look like a jock or a jerk?" My favorite memory when I went to him at Dodd Hall, and actually he really touched the lives of a lot of the staff there as well, because one of his main people there was his name. But, and I don't even think I could do this when I work out, but they had a pillow, and he was standing on the pillow, and they made him hold one foot up in the air and play the piano at the same time. But he did, he was able to accomplish that. Dr. Shore loved the Dodd Hall staff, and he appreciated all their efforts. He was very proud of one time he graduated from Dodd Hall, he went there after all of his service, and he had a certificate, which was a certificate, and hung this on his refrigerator for many years. And that was in May when he escaped Dodd Hall. And so every year he'd have me set up a pizza party for the staff that he very much appreciated in the month of May, because that was escape month from Dodd Hall. And then also at Christmas time, or the holiday season, he'd have me set up another pizza party. So we really enjoyed the time at Dodd Hall and for the staff. Dr. Shore had a true compassion for people and the community. Most of us know that he gave countless complimentary hours of funding to the OSU Chemistry Department. And outside work, he gave to many organizations multiple times, such as Nationwide Children's, Smile Train, Clintonville Community Center, St. Jude's, Cat Welfare, and the Faith Mission. Right after Dr. Shore died, I went to his house to locate some papers for his attorney and accountant. It was ironic, but the first piece of paper I picked up was the following. I go here. So I was reading through the program too. I didn't get the pleasure of seeing a lecture by him, but I guess he used a lot of overheads, and so I felt this was appropriate to do this in true Dr. Shore style. If it's set up wrong, I guess he would fiddle around with the overhead, so I won't feel too bad. And I'll read this. And he really made this comic strip. I think he modified it like he did with his other comic strips. So I'll read it for the people on tape. It says, "After Dr. Shore goes to the big chemistry laboratory in the sky, we will now have the reading of the will. Is the cat here?" Dr. Shore was very inspirational how he wanted to continue his routine, keep contributing and educating. He carried his spirit to his grave. He was a unique man. His intelligence was unmatched, as well as his wit. I know that my family, my mom, my brother, and dad, and myself will miss him dearly. And we will always appreciate the kindness, knowledge, and humor that he brought into our lives, and now into our fond and special memories. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about the amazing Dr. Shore.
And our next speaker is Jeff Rickard, one of the alumni of this research group and now a leader at UOP. Jeff, are you there? No? Jeff's not there? Okay, we'll go on. Can you check to see if there's a way to Jeff? No? Our next speaker then is Kathy Biles. Let's see, I guess it's the retired police department, maybe a little bit over a year.
Not here.
Good enough. Kathy and Sheldon worked together for many a year and Evans, and so I'm sure she has some very interesting things to tell us. Yeah.
First, I'd like to say how honored I am to be able to speak Dr. Shore's side. As to Dr. Shore, I don't really have a whole lot of stories because there's just too many little things. But one in particular I'd like to tell you, because everybody who knew Dr. Shore knew that he was hard to, he would tell a joke because he didn't have to. That was his biggest thing, I think, to do that. So he came into my office one day and asked me to do some facts. And I said, sure, no problem. And then we sat down and did one of those, and I said, so how are you? And he said, I'm not doing so good. I think this might be my last one. So it was one time only in 17 years, that I looked at him as straight face as I could, said, well, we do have to send this back. Stood up, walked. That was kind of, like I said, 17 years. And then, not too long before I retired, I saw him in the hallway in the office. And, he was chatting with someone, and I was standing there, and again, how are you doing? Not doing so good. I said, well, what the hell are you doing here? I miss him in a way that's comforting, because I know for all the good that he had done, and all the kindness he shared, was overwhelming. And the day that I got the message of his passing, I was sitting outside. I felt good. I felt calm. I wasn't sad. All of a sudden, I see this flash of red. And I'm sure it was cardinal, but I didn't know it went like that. But I'd like to think it was Dr. Shore on his last flyby. I think he was headed to China, because that's where I was leaving. So here's to you, Red Warren. Now keep flying.
Our next speaker is our own Jimmy Cowan. Jimmy, go ahead.
So I had the pleasure to work with Sheldon for the 26 or so years that I have been at Ohio State. Of course, when I first joined the faculty, spent many evenings, late evenings in the office, in the lab, working hard, and it wasn't long before it was door, inviting me along to the original late night party, which was a pizza with Sheldon group. Of course, these parties were open to anybody and everybody who happened to be working in the building late at night, and it was a great opportunity to hear Sheldon's stories and pick up and shore the floor. I know the years we talked about many things. Of course, yeah, for the not last time, the story of this $500 startup package, and there's no room in this once it, at a time which I think the upper administration now refers to the good old days. We talked for many times about our concern over the demise of pure curiosity-based research. We shared our viewpoints in graduate education. And consistently, Sheldon would tell me about his work, about his plans for the next experiment, about collaborations he was setting up, and I would just sit, listen, and whenever I tried to tell him about my stuff, he was silent. But I was happy to listen to him because he was really, really into his science, and he never lost that passion. Up till the last day I saw him just before he went into the hospital, he was standing in the hallway, he was talking to a visitor, for setting up a new collaboration, or planning experiments, not in the way Sheldon was, constantly curious. Sometimes it looked like he had some props to help us think. He had this cane, which he would complain of a bad back, and that would come to the cane, shuffling along. He would be thinking, but if there was a call, if he was expecting a call from a collaborator or some call coming up, as soon as he heard that phone ring, his cane was cast aside. His office was done in world record speed. We remember said much about Sheldon, the scientist, top scientific mind, honors, accolades. We tend to think sometimes of Sheldon being this dedicated individual, sort of trying to work, trying to collaborate. He was much more than that. We've heard he was a pilot. We've heard you and relate stories of adventures and flying. I'm sure people he was with had to do a few local books. Fly to conferences. I'm told he didn't fly as a crow flies. He would follow the freeways. He would follow the road exactly. He was sure he wouldn't get lost. He was a wonderfully gifted pianist, lover of music, lover of art, photographer, cat lover, tremendous artist who could punctuate his wit with a cartoon. The man lived a full, enriched life, much more than many of us might hope to enjoy. He really did have a rich, wonderful life. But perhaps the most important thing for me as I got to know him over the years, what made today's impression, was seeing how Sheldon built relationships, friendships over the years. Genuine friendships. He really had a concern for people. He loved this group. They were his family. I would hear many stories about him from his group members. Sometimes complaints. Like any family, there are going to be times when people really felt they were being hard done by. But I know that throughout all of that, he always had concern for his co-workers, and he never held anything against them. It was like having just a big family where you just have to put up with all the little concerns, and you just moving forward. He wouldn't give him heartburn and worry. He loved them, and he wanted to do the very best for them. He didn't make friends easily. He told me once how he had met this lady from Japan on a flight to from Beijing, and they had talked, and they had found they had mutual interests, and they had swapped email addresses. And so when he got back, they began an email correspondence, and they would exchange gifts. And a year or so later, a lady came over with her mother. Spent a week or two, and he showed them around, he took them on trips. He was like that. He could strike up friendships, and he would continue those friendships over many, many years. When he first came to Ohio State, Vivian knows he would take Vivian and Derek Hawk and others across the High Street to eat. The Outer End, which I think is still there, was one of his favorite places. He would get to know the waitresses, the servers. He would strike up conversations. He would learn about them. He would share their concerns with him. He would do whatever he could to help them. And he made a bond with them. And when they went off to their own careers, went off to study elsewhere, he kept in touch. And so when Sheldon went out to the West Coast or the East Coast, wherever, there were always people there who he could get together with and just share a good time and share the memories. As Megan has said, when he was in the hospital, Sheldon's room was really the place to be. Always witty, always politically incorrect, but in the kindest possible way. Love him. He did have a genuine interest of the staff and faculty of this department. Staff in particular, I don't know of any other faculty member I've ever known who had such a warm relationship with the staff in that specifically. His lunches, pizza parties for staff all over. He does funds to provide mechanisms of recognition of staff. That was all Sheldon. And I think for me, the most important thing that I got from my relationship with Sheldon was really just seeing how one can interact with people and really nurture those relationships. Because at the end of the day, I think each and every one of us feel a richer about our relationship with him. And it was a wonderful legacy of example and a life that you can all learn from. Thank you, and we do
with Sheldon did. Now, there was a long gap. Then I came in 1960, and as usual, the department had forgotten exactly when I was supposed to come. Maybe the department was supposed to come at all. But anyway, they said, well, Dr. Shaw will take care of you. You will go into the road and all this sort of thing. He suggested I move into his boarding house. The landlady wasn't there, but I needed a place to stay, and so we became rather good friends. And I realized I had made a new friend. Spent a lot of time together, and we know and knew so much about each other that we promised we would never stand in front of other people and tell the juicy bits for fear of retribution from the other person. Now, I can tell you this, that behind the lovable, eccentric facade he put on for everybody was a very fine-tuned mind, extremely, very, very, very well organized, as you can tell from the research. So well organized, actually, that he told me that in case he died, that there would be some kind of a meeting about this, and there were certain things I was not supposed to talk about. And he said, you may not discuss the library. You may not say anything about Ohio State's administration or the various chairs in the department which will be disputes of one kind or another. He often told me, in case I win the Nobel Prize, I'm going to tell everybody what I think. And because of that, he gave me some notes. Sorry, just kidding.
Be able to connect them. Yeah.
Do we have other people who would like to say a few words? Go ahead.
I'll just say from up here, I think everybody's really.
Actually come down because we are
Oh,
recording.
that's right, okay. I have to tell a pizza story.
Wait, this is Debbie McCarthy, one of these
Former graduate student.
alumni from this group, yes.
Yes. Okay, so everybody talks about Sheldon and parties. I think Joel was there this night. But at any rate, Sheldon was a man who was often worried about his health, and he liked to watch his weight. And so when we were here, this was in the 90s, he was having his pizza parties every night. And that was, we would take a break. He would order in the pizza, and we'd get the pizza, and then he decided he couldn't have pizza anymore because his weight was too much. He was going to get salads. He always had to order a salad, and we all had our pizzas, and everything was going along just swimmingly. And then we came in one night, we were working, and we were, thinking, okay, it's about time to order a pizza, so I think I went to his office or someone did and said, Sheldon, should we order pizza? He says, no, I don't think we can have any pizza. He says, my weight is too bad. Well, you can have a salad. Well, no, because I always want to eat the pizza. It's just not going to work, and so we're just not going to have pizza. So I walked out, or whoever it was, and announced to the group that there would not be pizza that night. And we all looked at one another and we said, well, wait, that's not right. And so we all just went in and we got our coats and we started to get ready to go out the door. And Doc steps out of his office and he goes, well where are you going? You're not working. Hey, you're not going to go buy pizza. We're going to go out and eat. We'll see you in about half an hour. He bought pizza every night after that.
We have others? Oh, Bob, go ahead.
I just, you and I think told, also told Dr. Shore that Fred Hawthorne was going to get the Nobel Prize. And that perked up just like that.
I actually talked to Danny before that. I said, he's not really conscious. And I think I'm going to tell him that Fred Hawthorne got the Nobel Prize. See, that way you want to actually try to match it.
Yeah. The other thing that worked was he said it is losing some of his research space. There's a poem that I'd like to read because it was up back there by the table. Seldom seen. A frown, thought Sheldon, that would surprise them, so used to the suit and tie and a ready smile above them. But now I'm feeling tired. I wonder where I put my glasses. I'd better finish my preparation for the students in my classes. It was so great starting out in 1957. Wallingford on my shoulder and lab, researching late nights past 11. Mildred, where did you go? Do you like my new piece by Mozart? I hope you like it better when I know it all by heart. What a fascinating element is number 5 called boron. Can't get a life's work out of that, you might well be a moron. Here's some artwork by my dad and some that I have done. You can decide among them which is the nicest one. Add carbonyls and then some metals to form a cluster. Iron, ruthenium 2, in hopes they will pass muster. Oh, can you see where my cat has gone off to? Here, Posy, dear Posy, some tasty treats for you. Interesting new compounds might be made with lanthanides. If they're not toxic enough, throw in some cyanides. So finally, there is no cheating death, it seems. My art and music, work and text dissolve as if in dreams. But please recall my friend when you recall my meaning. Upon my face a Cheshire smile, a frown was seldom seen.
I think that we will close with that. I'd like to have a moment of silence here to commemorate Sheldon. Thank you all for coming. We all were just incredibly thankful for having the opportunity to interact with Sheldon in so many different ways. And thank you all who are on the web for your participation too. I think it's not going to be the world that Sheldon would be quite. Thank you.